with a super simple example. Soap. On the one hand, you could buy a generic bar that's just labeled soap. It gets the job done, but on the other hand, you could reach for something like Lux or Dove. Now, what's the real difference there? It's not just the ingredients. It's a whole world of ideas, feelings, and strategy, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack. So this really brings us to the core question of this whole explainer. What is that special something? What's the alchemy that transforms a physical product into a powerful, almost emotional promise that lives inside our own heads?
To get to that answer, let's start with our first section here. What actually makes a brand? Or, to put it another way, how do companies give a product a soul?
Well, let's start with the classic, old-school definition from back in 1960. Back then, a brand was seen as pretty straightforward. It was just an identifier, a name, a symbol, something to help a seller say, hey, this one's mine, and set it apart from all the others.
But things have gotten a lot more complex since then. Today, a brand is so much more than that. I love this phrase for it, a mental patent. It's not just something a company owns on paper. It's the space they own in your mind. It's that unique combination of feelings, ideas, and expectations that you, the consumer, connect to a product.
So how do they build this mental patent? It really comes down to three fundamental pieces. First, you've got the brand name. That's the part you can actually say out loud, like Coca-Cola. Then there's the brand mark, the visual symbol you instantly recognize, like the golden arches. And finally, you have the trademark, which is the legal shield that protects those unique assets from being copied.
Okay, so once a company has those basic building blocks, they hit a major fork in the road. This brings them to a real strategic crossroads, where they have to decide how to build out their brand's identity.
And the choice they face can be boiled down to a pretty simple question, really. It's like asking, should we use one family name for all of our products, or should every single one get its own unique first name?
And this leads to two main strategies. On one side, you have umbrella branding. This is where one name covers everything. Think of a company like Godrej, which puts its name on products as different as soaps and locks. On the other side, you've got individual branding. This is where each product stands on its own. For example, Hindustan Lever sells brands like Lux, Surf, and Rin, and you might not even connect them back to the same parent company.
Now, each of these paths has some serious trade-offs. With an umbrella brand, it's way cheaper and faster to launch a new product because the trust is already there, but the risk is huge. If one product fails, it can tarnish the reputation of the entire family. Individual branding, on the other hand, contains any failure to just that one product. But wow, is it a lot more expensive and time-consuming to build every single brand's reputation from the ground up.
But a brand isn't just an abstract name or a strategy, right? It needs to have a physical presence in the world. And that brings us to its packaging, what our sources call the silent salesman, which is basically how a brand dresses for success.
I think this quote really nails it. In a self-service store, the package serves as a silent salesman. I mean, just picture it. When you're walking down that store aisle, surrounded by dozens of choices, the package is the only thing that gets to make a sales pitch. It has to grab your eye, tell you a story, and close the deal, all without saying a word.
And here's the tricky part. Every package is trying to do two things at once. First, it has a very practical job to physically protect the product from breaking or spoiling or getting contaminated. But at the same time, it has an emotional job to project the brand's unique personality and promise. And believe me, those two roles can definitely be at odds with each other.
So, great packaging is really a masterclass in multitasking. It has to check 5 different boxes. It has to offer protection. It has to have appeal on a crowded shelf. It needs to perform. You know, an aerosol can has to actually spray. It has to be convenient, not just for you to use, but for stores to handle and stock. And it has to do all of this while being cost-effective. It's a tough balancing act. All right, we are on the home stretch now. The brand has been created, the strategy is set, the package is designed. Now we get to the final details, the little things that make sure the company is actually keeping its promise to you, the customer.
This is where labeling comes in. The absolute best way to think about a label is as the product's official ID card. It's all that printed information on the package that tells you exactly what you're getting. No guesswork involved.
So what's on this ID card? Well, a good label tells you the essential story. You'll find out who made it and where, what the ingredients are, and how to use it safely. It's got the crucial stuff, like expiration dates and any required safety warnings, all the way down to that barcode they scan at the register.
And then we have the final, ultimate piece of the promise, the product warranty. You can think of this as the manufacturer's formal, written guarantee of quality. It's them saying, we stand behind this product, and if it fails, we'll make it right. It's the ultimate backstop for their brand's reputation.
So the next time you're out shopping and you grab something off the shelf, just pause for a second, take a closer look, and ask yourself, am I just buying a product or am I buying a story, a promise, a whole identity that was carefully built piece by piece? Thanks for joining